On a spring morning, a grade school teacher announced to her students that this day's assignment was to tell a story that would make you happy. As the day neared its end, the teacher selected one of her finer students to get the class started in its storytelling project. The young girl stood in front of the class and began to read her piece titled, "The Saddest Story That Makes Me Happy." On a late Sunday morning, a young couple made their way to the park for a picnic in the sun. They had been together for nearly 5 years, and the young wife had a secret she wanted to share. Something that she had long suspected and only recently confirmed. After years of trial and error, they were finally about to extend their family. Is it a boy or is it a girl? She had spoken with a doctor, and she had yet to tell her husband. With the warm sun beating down, they held each other close, kissing so slightly, and hardly ate their food. Finally, the wife had mustered up the courage to tell her husband the good news. Then, from behind, a stranger called, "Sit up straight, no sudden movements." The husband and wife turned slowly, looking at the stranger as he held a Glock 17 with a suppressor attachment in their direction. "Don't shoot," said the husband, "please." The stranger just stared at them, with no sounds or gestures. The husband reached into his back pocket. "We have money." He held his wallet out into the air, but still the stranger made no sound. The wife noticed that his hand was steady. It had been a while since she had seen a hand that steady before. As the stranger's trigger finger tensed, the wife screamed. Staring down the barrel of the stranger's gun, the wife slowly gripped the kitchen knife from the picnic set, and in one sweeping motion she struck the stranger in the neck, severing the external carotid artery. The stranger fell to the ground, his body bleeding out. The wife sat for a moment, and suddenly a sharp pain raced through her body. Thinking of her lover and now her deceased unborn child, she couldn't see herself continuing her life alone again. The emotional pain was too much for her to bear. She hoped that she would see them both on the other side of heaven. As the girl finished her story, she noticed the awkward silence that filled the room. The teacher sat silent for a moment and then began to scold the young girl. "Young lady, that was inconsiderate and widely inappropriate. Why would you read a story such as that?" The young girl explained that she was simply writing from her heart. "A young girl should not have thoughts like that, and one as smart as you should have known better." "I'm not sure what you expect me to do," replied the girl. "I expect you to write about real things such as love, happiness, and fun, not something horrid and violent." "You wanted me to write about fantasy?" "No," said the teacher. "Love and happiness are wonderful things. The assignment was to write about something happy." The girl stood silent for a moment, collecting her thoughts. She knew that the principal's office was shortly around the corner, and that nothing she said at this point would change that. She began. "Your guidelines for this assignment and ideology for this class are hypocritical. As a teacher, you expect your students to soak in the abundance of knowledge that surrounds them, but at the same time, you ask that they segregate themselves from the wicked things that humans do. You and many others confuse this world as a gift-wrapped utopia, ignoring the reality that the universe is a violent place. For thousands of years, humankind has been destroying itself, and yet you pretend as though brutality and aggression don't exist. And then you attempt to teach children that there is a perfect world, a fantasy. How are we supposed to learn anything from such a lie?" If you saw a child reading a newspaper, you'd think, "How intelligent," and be happy they are not watching TV or playing video games. However, the news media is full of immoral things that humans do. If it bleeds, it leads, as the saying goes. Murder, death, kill, and destruction line newspapers from cover to cover. Perhaps you'd prefer that a child read only the comic section then. But it isn't the newspaper or the media's fault, for that matter. The news only reflects the action of man, not condone it, nor creates it. And to be correct, your rubric for the assignment was not to write a happy story, but to write a story that makes us happy. The story I told was about love. It was about happiness, but it was also about pain and regret. All these things are humanly things. That's what makes me happy. Being true to myself as an artist. Why should I have to censor myself so that I may be what you call appropriate, in a world that is already a creation of chaos? You don't censor your passion for your loved ones. Why should I censor my love for art? Don't teach me Shakespeare and tell me that I may never write a tragedy again. An artist must be true to themselves. That is the only way an artist can speak from the heart. You teach us not to lie to our kinsmen, but you also request that we lie to ourselves. Well, I cannot. I am a storyteller. The story I told may have been sad, but at least it was true to who I am as an artist. That is what makes me happy. Life does not imitate art. On the contrary, art imitates life.